Good evening, I'm Alicia Richards. Dennis is on assignment. Plans unveiled today for reopening 3 Mile Island. All the electricity it generates will be sold to one company, Microsoft. Seth Kaplan joins us live with more on this big news, Seth.
Alicia, big news indeed. You see the new sign there kind of draped over the old sign. It says Constellation Clean Energy Center. Whether that big news is good news or bad news, the idea of nuclear energy again being produced here depends on who you ask.
3 Mile Island is shutting down. Unit 1 was decommissioned right around noon today.
That was exactly 5 years ago. For better or worse, depending on what you thought, no more nuclear energy produced here 40 years after this.
A buildup of pressure and temperature in the primary system. And as designed, the primary relief valves lifted, releasing radioactivity.
But now, 45 years after that and 5 years after the decommissioning, a planned recommissioning by 2028.
In 2019, we had to shut down the plant because we couldn't sell the energy on the markets.
Because of that, says Dave Marcheski of Constellation Energy, and not because of safety concerns, which is not to say those don't linger in the minds of some people who live nearby.
Yeah, his grandparents took him to a rally so he can represent his generation in regards to the 3 Mile Island. They're very against it.
People that were here in 1979, it was a huge impact to them, to their lives. And that is Unit 2. We're here to talk about Unit 1, and that plant ran for 45 years. It had a stellar record of performance and safety.
It's pretty hard to get the smile off my face today.
Rob Baer of PA Building Trades reacting to the news of at least 700 union construction jobs to get Reactor 1 back online. A lot of family history here.
My pop worked here during construction. Tom Mafy's dad was here. I was an apprentice for Tom Mafy's dad over the years. You know, Tom Mafy's dad was an apprentice for my grandfather as an electrician.
Tom Mafy, now the area's state rep.
And I think it's due to the demand of electricity. I mean, it's just where we're headed. I mean, we're talking about data centers.
Microsoft agreeing to buy power produced here. Clean power, Constellation says, for at least 20 years.
See, today's the big day with the announcement, but we have a lot of work to do over the next few years.
Including approval by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission and maybe other hurdles.
We're opposed to the proposed restart and we'll litigate it aggressively.
Nuclear watchdog Eric Epstein worries about waste at the site from the other failed reactor.
Has 700 tons of high-level radioactive waste. So our position is, first things first, let's clean up the plant, move the waste off-site, and then have a discussion about restarting TMI.
When we say clean, are we taking that into account?
Well, we emit no emissions into the atmosphere. Every nuclear facility has spent fuel that's properly managed and stored on site.
Some people, meanwhile, say, well, why not wind or solar, which a lot of environmentalists consider to be the cleanest power of all. Dave Marcheski of Constellation says that's all fine, but no match right now for the amount of consistent energy this place can produce. He also says that whereas other nuclear power plants that might be coming back online are doing so thanks to taxpayer subsidies, this is $1.6 billion in private investment by Constellation, thanks to that promise by Microsoft to buy so much energy here for the next 20 years. Alicia.
Got it, Seth. Thanks so much for all that info. And there are still regulatory and perhaps legal hurdles to clear before power starts flowing from TMI. Best case is 2028 for it to reopen. The lawmaker who represents TMI is calling this a very good day. State Rep Tom Mafy wanted the state to bail out TMI a few years ago to keep it going. He says we need that power, and he told Dennis Owens on This Week in Pennsylvania he realizes some in his community worry about the safety of this industry. To them, he says this.
When you look at then till now, and I've been in every nuclear power plant in Pennsylvania, that is the safest, cleanest energy we have. And when I say safe, they are safe. And I feel safer than anybody. I live 5 miles from there, so I moved here. I wasn't afraid of it, and I think it's where we need to be.
But is it a problem that all the power is going to one company, Microsoft? Dennis asked that question as well, and you can see his full interview on This Week in Pennsylvania, Sunday morning at 10, right here on ABC 27. Updating a deadly shooting in Harrisburg. The suspect is the son of the victim. 18-year-old Tymarion Davenport is now charged with homicide. His father, Thomas Davenport, was shot and killed 1 week ago in a home on 14th Street. Tymarion told police he thought his father was an intruder breaking in through a third-floor window. Police say they found a scale and illegal drugs suspected to be cocaine and marijuana. The number of threats coming into mid-state schools is out of control. More of that posted on social media today. School buses on their way to the Northeastern School District had to turn right back around this morning. Sarah Wilson here with the update. Sarah.
Alicia, just a scary situation overall. A threat forced the Northeastern School District to shut down today, and it is not the only one in the mid-state. Both threats were deemed uncredible, but students say that doesn't make them any less concerned.
It's unsettling, to say the least.
Students at Northeastern School District in York County forced to turn around in the middle of their morning commute.
As buses were coming, they weren't letting students off, and they're like, you have to call your parents and go home.
Done out of an abundance of caution, the district says, after police confirmed a student threatened to carry out a shooting at the high school. That student not identified, and for now, not charged.
Everybody just wants an answer.
Students also want answers at the Lancaster County Career and Technology Center. An online threat closed the school yesterday, and another one did today.
There have been a number of school threats that have gone on throughout the state of Pennsylvania.
Also including at Central Dauphin. 2 threats there led police to search a 13-year-old student's home. They found a toy gun, pellet gun, and machete, all pictured in the threat posted on Snapchat.
Unfortunately, today's world, you really don't know if something is a hoax or if it's a viable threat.
Cybersecurity experts like John Sansonito say these posts are becoming all too common.
I think the overriding intention of these individuals is to create fear and panic among students and parents in our general communities.
For William Nayoff, mission accomplished, but he's urging his classmates to remember they don't have to deal with this alone.
Your friends are here for you, and if you need to reach out, please do.
And again, police have to take every single threat seriously. A lot of the times when they originate online, they are alerted through the Safe to Say portal. We have reported to you that multiple times, and that is something schools across the country use, Alicia.
All right, Sarah, thanks very much. New details on the investigation underway by Gettysburg College. They say a racial slur was scratched onto a student with some sort of tool. Gettysburg police say they contacted the school once they learned about this. Gettysburg campus safety encouraged the victim to contact law enforcement, but that person has decided to let the college handle it. And the school is now in the process of doing that. In the meantime, several students on the swim team are not on the team, at least for now. Some mid-staters will be voting in a different precinct in November, even though they haven't moved and there has not been redistricting. This is happening in Dover, York County. Somebody alerted the county that some precinct boundaries may be incorrect, and it turns out they are incorrect. State Rep Seth Grove is among the lawmakers who now have a few new constituents.
I'm glad a citizen recognized it. I'm glad the county took the appropriate steps to address it. We're running another presidential election on a system that should have been retired probably 6-7 years ago.
This affects about 1,200 Dover residents, and they have already received their new voting card. Republican presidential candidate, vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance will be in the mid-state this weekend. He'll be a guest on Tucker Carlson's live tour show at Giant Center in Hershey. This will be tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, and it'll be Vance's first time in the mid-state. Tickets are still available. A new report shows deadly drug overdoses are on the decline. Also still ahead, the mid-state pays tribute to those who served in Vietnam and to the veterans who never came home. Plus, learn how a new project for the Turnpike will help power the Commonwealth. You're watching ABC 27 News at 6.
Class-leading safety features at every turn. The Hyundai Tucson.
Lease a Tucson for only $249 a month or get 1.99% APR for 60 months plus $500 bonus cash. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Let's make this simple. Senate candidate Dave McCormick opposes abortion rights.
I'm someone who's pro-life, and I'll stand tall on pro-life policies.
McCormick said that he was fully against abortion, with no exceptions for rape or incest. And when the Supreme Court was overturning Roe v. Wade, he said it made him, quote, very, very happy. Dave McCormick. He's simply too extreme to be Pennsylvania's senator. Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Eugene D. Pasquale.
Eugene D. Pasquale.
Eugene D. Pasquale.
He's the candidate for Attorney General we trust to protect Pennsylvanians.
As Auditor General, D. Pasquale got justice.
Clearing the backlog of thousands of untested rape kits.
To get criminals off the streets.
D. Pasquale rooted out corrupt public officials and saved taxpayer dollars.
That's why thousands of law enforcement are endorsing Eugene D. Pasquale.
Because he has a record of protecting Pennsylvania.
Effort is a promise you make to yourself. And at York College of Pennsylvania, all of our effort goes into making yours count. That's why 90% of recent graduates are employed or in graduate school. York College, your effort unbound.
Yeah, we do it better than the competition. We do it better. We do it.
Save on our brand pasta, 77 cents each.
We do it better.
There's a crisis on the border. Too many Democrats deny it, but what Scott Perry did was worse. He opposed a law Border Patrol agents said would help. He wants a campaign issue instead of solving the problem. Putting politics ahead of our safety is gross. Here's what I'm for. Hire more border agents, kick out migrants here illegally, and shut down the border when needed. I'm Janelle Stelson, and I approve this message because politicians in both parties have failed.
Good news about the opioid crisis. Data from the Centers for Disease Control shows overdose deaths in the U.S. are dropping, including here in Pennsylvania. There has been an 18% decrease in the Commonwealth. An addiction specialist does caution, while this is a great sign, the fight is not over. Deaths are still above pre-pandemic levels.
Opioid use disorder, the opioid epidemic is still very much a problem. It's exciting for the first time to see a downward trend, but it's not enough, and we need to keep going and keep going in the right direction.
And she says what would really help is if there were more treatment centers and if every American had affordable health insurance. Today is National POW MIA Remembrance Day. Hamden Township unveiled and dedicated a chair of honor for prisoners of war and those missing in action. The chair sits in the lobby of the Hamden Municipal Building as a remembrance.
We just want folks, when they see the chair, to remember, and that's what it's all about. There's, over the years, 100,000 have gone missing in action and have been prisoners of war, and it's important for us to remember them.
And the plaque above the chair explains its significance, and the township awaits the return of those missing or imprisoned.